Hi there. Today I'm going to tell you a little bit about GloPoll. What is GloPoll? It's a democracy-enhancing platform that bridges the divide in between public opinion demands and policy outcomes. How does it work? All it does in the beginning is it just gathers rich information that is actionable and it just puts it on a silver platter in front of legislators. It takes legislators' voting behavior, puts it on a public ledger, and lets you evaluate how they're performing. So it creates this two-way transparency so that information can be transformed into action. And then if the elected officials either can't or won't make use of this data, then we have a war chest and a user base through which to engage in activism, both on the grassroots level and on the pay-to-play level, because we will be generating plenty of money for our users and for ourselves to fund change now. And to be honest, I think democratizing decision-making and putting some muscle behind public opinion, I think that will really increase the chances in the long run of eliminating the whole problem of money in democracy, corruption, whatever you want to call it. So that's GloPoll. It takes advantage of technology that exists today. You don't have to do anything new. You just have to package it in a way that gives a voice to the voiceless and gives a platform for change to the powerless. It's a web application that gives full transparency between users and their elected officials based on where they live. So for example, users can vote on any issue in the world, but they are prompted to vote on issues that will be affecting them where they live. This information is distilled into an actionable form where public officials can listen to this information or not. But guess what? They are also accountable because the same platform, it provides a web portal where you can evaluate how your elected officials are voting and you can compare how they vote to what your preferences are, and there will be an easy contacts portal through which you can thank them or call on them to do the right thing. By increasing the transparency between these two parties, there's no more excuse for ignorance. So GloPoll kills ignorance and also paves a path forward for change. And that is not only through facilitating contacting your representatives through the contacts portal, but also through acting as a public interest group. That's right, GloPoll is a public interest group. The same exact voting that distills public opinion for the benefit of policymakers, that same public opinion data is what drives the agenda of GloPoll. Anyone can propose any issue to the network, but the ones that are popular are going to raise to the top and get more attention. Similar to Reddit, you can upvote and downvote. Once a vote gets enough attention, we're going to do a secondary screening. What I mean by that is doing a simple random sample, because for a fair vote, you need everyone to be aware of it, which is just not possible with millions of votes. But you can test this high-profile issue against the network, because once the network is big enough, all you need is 1,500 randomly selected users to answer your poll question, and then you can have a pretty close idea of what the whole thinks, because 1,500 is the magic number where you can get a representative sample of the whole network. So of course the network increases in value as it grows. And once again, GloPoll can inspire political action. By that I mean organizing grassroots movements because you have an active user base. But at the same time, in the world we live in, as it is right now, money does influence politics. So I really prefer a two-pronged approach where you have an active user base, but also money to throw into political change. Because what if there are elected officials who don't listen to your public opinion data? You need to make them care. And if history is any teacher, money does get policy outcomes right now. I think that's a problem, but that's the way the world is today. And GloPoll acknowledges how the world is today to pave the way for a better tomorrow. GloPoll will make money on its own, and here's how. How do you make money? That's how you make money. I'm talking about a cryptocurrency. Don't compare it to Bitcoin. It doesn't need to be worth the tens of thousands of dollars. All it needs to be worth is more than zero, and then you can create value. Why does that matter? Because I want my service to actually reward users for participation. So here's one way of making money that I think is really interesting. Through GloPoll, we will already be doing simple random samples when we are reviewing high-profile issues. So we can use that same exact technique. We can offer that service to pollsters, such as Pew Research, and sometimes marketers, and sometimes politicians want to do their own private polls. So, is that compromising the mission? I don't think so, because we would be fully transparent about the process. So there would be the feed where users can see the organic polls that are rising based on their attention, and then there would be the sponsored feed. And there would be full transparency. Users would be fully aware. When you answer these polls, you raise money for GloPoll. You make our activism budget stronger. So you would imagine people using GloPoll want GloPoll to be powerful because they feel like they don't have a voice domestically in their own politics, so they're trying to increase their voice through our network. That's what we provide to the users. And we have so many users that it is pretty painless to offer them a chance to be randomly selected and then raise money for this thing that they clearly believe in. Here's a way. You pay users for participating. You pay them with your own cryptocurrency. What it is a proof of work. It shows that you participated. So the payment mechanism, what I want to do is I want to distribute 100 of our cryptocurrency coins each day. Let's pretend there's only one user, they get all 100 coins. 100 users, they get 1 coin, and so on and so forth. What this will do is it will reward early adopters in a very dramatic way. And when you give people free money, I'm looking back to the hard fork where Bitcoin duplicated and every Bitcoin holder all of a sudden had the same amount of Bitcoin cash. Do you know what you end up with? You end up with a lot of people online trying to validate this new coin for self-interested reasons. I'm not asking for charity on any step of the way. I am giving people a chance to have their voice be heard, and I'm actually rewarding them for their participation. What if the pollsters had to pay for their private polls by converting their traditional currency into our crypto in order to buy services from us? What that does is it creates liquidity for the coin. So this currency that we can generate and distribute to our users to reward them for participating, we can reward them more when they participate. They create a demand where people are going to exchange real money for their crypto. So the early adopters will be rewarded heavily, and then everyone else who's experiencing the fear of missing out or the FOMO is going to pile on. So this way we will build our network rapidly instead of just having a linear growth of people who are very interested in democracy. Now that's nice, but do you know what's more interesting than democracy? Democracy and getting paid to participate. How doesn't that exist already? It does now. I don't really like asking people for donations because it doesn't feel like an investment at all. If people who feel the mission of GloPoll wish to donate to the cause, the best thing they can do is just buy some of our crypto because you're helping grow the network, you're helping reward participants. The point is, it's a donation that isn't necessarily gone. All you need is for the value to raise above zero, and you increased your investment. Every step of the way, people are motivated by self-interest, which there's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, changing the incentive structure is much more durable than trying to make people good. So I am all for paying people to participate, rewarding people for being early adopters, and making late adopters pile on board because of their fear of missing out. And they are missing out on a good thing. All it does in the beginning is it just gathers rich information that is actionable, and it just puts it on a silver platter in front of legislators. It takes legislators' voting behavior, puts it on a public ledger, and lets you evaluate how they're performing. So it creates this two-way transparency so that information can be transformed into action. And then if the elected officials either can't or won't make use of this data, then we have a war chest and a user base through which to engage in activism, both on the grassroots level and on the cynical pay-to-play level, because we will be generating plenty of money for our users and for ourselves to fund change now, not change 10 years from now, change now. And to be honest, I think democratizing decision making and putting some muscle behind public opinion, I think that will really increase the chances in the long run of eliminating the whole problem of money in democracy, corruption, whatever you want to call it. So that's GloPoll. It takes advantage of technology that exists today. You don't have to do anything new. You just have to package it in a way that gives a voice to the voiceless and gives a platform for change to the powerless.